The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello and welcome to the More Clients from Your Law Firm website webinar. And I'll show you what's working at the moment in terms of bringing new clients to you from your website. If I can ask if you can actually hear me, if you can raise your hand on the GoToMeeting taskbar, that would be useful. Let me have a look. I've got a question from CTAL about the telephone number. That should all be in the emails that were sent across to you, CTAL. Everything was sent out and you had a couple of reminder emails. That should be there. Thank you, Anson. Much appreciated. Glad you can hear. Let me just... you'll have to go to the email, CTAL, to hear the volume or use your computer audio. If you click on the audio tab on GoToMeeting, then you should be able to switch over to computer audio. Then you should hear loud and clear. Right, let me crack on. So today is all about getting more clients from your website. It's all based on everything I've done in my 14 years as a solicitor, in my 15 years now since setting up my consultancy for law firms, based on a spend of millions every year and spending my own money promoting legal services, and based on everything that I preach, which is getting clients coming to you at the time they're looking for a solicitor, as opposed to trying to get people to trying to interrupt people through Facebook or other social media. The right way to do marketing is to get people finding you at exactly the right time, and that's why your website works so well. And lawyers seem fascinated by social media, but it's so much harder to generate clients from that. It takes a lot more time, a lot of wasted energy. If you get your website right, you won't even think about using social media as a means of generating significant volumes of clients for you. Just not needed. So today we're going to cover how to get more inquiries, how to get more clients from those inquiries, and more of both of the above. Why is this important? Well, because at the last count from the Law Society, there's over 10,414 solicitors. That doesn't take into account the growing number of consultants working under an umbrella of a law firm. So there's an awful lot of competition. The great news for you is that most of your competition is absolutely hopeless when it comes to website marketing or marketing full stop. By way of an example, I know someone locally who was trying to instruct a conveyancing solicitor. He made 7 calls and had 1 phone call returned. That's what your competition do. I know someone else who's phoned 46 firms and got 1 phone call returned. Your competition are lazy, letting work slip through their fingers day after day. So if you do the basics, you can have as busy a practice as you would ever like. I'm going to show you some of those basics. The most important thing is most websites make the mistake that is common, is that they fall as a mistake. So I used to work with a solicitor. He'd go off to court, he'd come back and he'd spend 10 minutes telling me how great he was, what a fantastic job he'd done, how clever he was. And then after that 10 minutes, he'd say, well, enough about me, Nick. What do you think of me? A moody Tom, as I call it. So most law firms fall into this trap. They talk all about themselves and their services and not at all about the client, what the client's looking for. When they've typed into Google, I need a solicitor for a divorce, they don't want to hear how ABC and Co was set up 3 million years ago and how we're brilliant and we're this and we're that. They want to hear, are you looking for a divorce? Are you feeling like this? Are you anxious? Are you worried? What's your state of mind? We're here to help you use all of our experience to guide you through this difficult process. We'll make it as easy as we possibly can for you. That's the whole point of your website, is to talk to your client about how they feel at that moment in time so they realize you understand them and you're the right sort of firm for them. It's not about just preaching and telling people everything you do and not talking at all about them. It is very much about them and what you can do for them. So if you get that right, you'll be ahead of your competition, because they aren't doing that. So let's look at how you can get some more inquiries. Now, the first one's a really obvious one, and one that a lot of firms make the mistake of. They don't tell their audience what it is they do. Now, if you're a solicitor, you're in the enviable position that's a well-respected service. Whatever you might think about it, what the media says, people still know that they need a list of certain services. So it's absolutely vital that you put your logo, and beneath it you put solicitors in the top left. And that template is one that's in my law firm growth formula book, which goes into a lot more detail about websites and how they've got to look and feel. And I'll take you through parts of that as we go. But if you want the full blueprint for your website, then buy the law firm growth formula, and it's all there for you. You also get a bunch of resources as well. So make sure you've got the word solicitors. Have a look at your website, and I'll give you a process to follow at the end of this so you can make sure you make the most of this webinar. There'll also be a recording of it. You come back and go through it. The next biggest mistake is you've got to tell people what you want them to do. And bearing in mind now that 70% of people visiting your law firm websites will be on mobile phones, and I know this because I look at the analytics of dozens of law firm websites, and I must confess that figure still amazes me, because I thought if you're choosing a solicitor, then that's an informed decision. You're going to want to read lots and lots, but they do. But as we know, smartphones are bigger and they're more accessible, and they're choosing solicitors on their smartphones. So if you don't tell someone what to do at the end of the page, and hopefully earlier on in the page, they like what they say, but you then leave them with nothing, they will go somewhere else, because as we all know, people are time starved, and if you won't make it easy for them, they will go elsewhere. And most solicitors fail here. They don't, at the end of each page, they don't tell the person what it is they're supposed to do next. You need to do that. So you've got to have your content, you have all this lovely information, client thinks, oh, this sounds great, and then they get to the bottom of the page and there's nothing there. That's no good for you, it's no good for them. So you absolutely must tell them what to do at the bottom of every page. And it's important, but what I said about mobile phones, it's really important that you link your telephone number, so that if I touch my mobile screen, I can immediately call you without having to type any numbers in, because it's much easier. And by doing that on all of my clients' websites and all the client sites that I manage with Google AdWords campaigns, volume of inquiries increases dramatically, because you just make it so easy for people to get in touch with you. The other thing you've got to do is, in a short period of time, I call it a 2 minutes trust builder, but it's down to around 90 seconds, which is the average amount of time someone spends on your site before choosing whether to get in touch or to go and visit your competitor's website. So in that 90 seconds, you've got to convert someone and prove to them that you're an expert in this area of law. And there's two ways of doing that: your depth of expertise and your proof of expertise. And depth goes into how many pages you have in each area, and also the amount of content on each page. And these bits always freak solicitors out, I know. I have a lot of solicitors that say, oh, I'm only putting a very few words on the page and that's all I'm doing. Well, if you do that, two things are guaranteed to happen. One, no one will ever find your website, because Google won't be able to work out what it's about. Secondly, anyone that does find it, even if they're recommended to you, so they go off and find your URL, they won't get in touch, because you have done nothing to convince them that you are the solicitor that they need, because you haven't told them anything. So you need at least 400 to 2,000 words on each page, and there needs to be at least 4 or 5 pages in each section. So if I'm in your conveyancing section, 1 page is not enough to make me believe that you're an expert. There needs to be a page about conveyancing, there needs to be a page about remortgaging, leasehold, extending tenancies, there needs to be a page about sales, purchases. If I see all that information, then fantastic. I know that you're good at this. And the other way I can quickly see what you actually care about normally in a law firm is by looking at your navigation. And most firms make the mistake of listing it in the order of the work that they want the most, which I find hilarious. The only way for your navigation to be listed should be alphabetical, because that's the only way for your client to actually find anything on your website. So after this, have a look at your website and have a look if you are preaching to the world. Actually, we've got all these services, but we only want this one because it's the first in our list. That's a good little sign of what you're after, but it should be alphabetical. Proving your expertise means that you should have qualifications, testimonials, or as everyone calls them these days, reviews, which is the correct terminology, press coverage, books, articles published, and the number of people you've helped. So it's about me looking at your site and going to your page and seeing all of this lovely content in the middle, 400 to 2,000 words, and enough navigation on the left that I can see that you're experts in this area. Then whilst I'm reading all this, I see your reviews and your proof of expertise on the right-hand side with links to, for example, law society panels, But what you don't do then is link off to their website, the Law Society, because then they can go and find a different solicitor. You link those images to a page on your site which explains why membership of those organizations is a benefit to your clients. That's what you do with those, and that's all you need to do. It's really important. So, mobile phone revolution I've mentioned. You have to make sure your phone is responsive. If it is not responsive, which means that it changes size as the screen changes, if you still have a mobile site which was separate for your main site, you will be losing traffic because Google will not send you visitors. Google says your site has to reshape to form whatever device you're on. So the easiest way to do this is to just resize the screen you're on, they're slowly shrinking it. And if things keep moving all of the time, you're in luck. You've got a responsive website. There's the telephone number, so you've got to link that. And if you check your website and the code isn't linked, email me after this webinar and I'll send you the code to show you how you can get that into your site to make sure it links so someone can click to call you. How else can I get in touch? Some people will phone, some people don't want to phone, and I'm one of those people. If I go looking for a service, first thing I'll do is fill in an inquiry, use it as a test to see how efficient they are, whether they get back to me. And with solicitors, many people do that and don't ever hear from them again. So you've got to give me options. You've got to give me your telephone number, email address, and your inquiry form. And that gives me the option that whatever device I'm on, I can choose how I want to get in touch with you. If you haven't got an inquiry form on your website, I devised a piece of software, your website Genie, which instantly puts one onto your website, and for £20 a month, it's a bargain. It generally increases inquiries on your website by as much as a third. So there's a lot more clients for a very little sum. Once you have an inquiry form, if you do have one, you've got to make sure you link it from every page. And the easiest way to do that is to do what Amazon does and link it from the right-hand side in the Buy Now button, just as you see there on that website. And if I go back to my template, that would be number 6. That would be where you put a button saying make a free inquiry or link off to a free inquiry to get people to make contact with you. One more thing that's worth pointing out at this point is that a lot of solicitors love to put their prices on the website, and that's a real problem because it means that as soon as I know how much you charge, I don't need to speak with you, and I can go off and look at your competition. They don't put the price but say make a free inquiry. I then have a chat with them and they get my instruction, because the whole point of your website, which I'll come on shortly, is to make your phone ring, is to generate that first inquiry, that first conversation. On that conversation, you sell your services. And what most solicitors do is make the mistake of trying to sell the whole service from a website. It doesn't work. So it's much more about saying, yep, free inquiry, tell them that you offer fixed fee services if you do, and then generate an inquiry. On that inquiry, once you have managed to have what I call the meaningful conversation, in other words, you found out what matters to the client and really drilled into that, and that, again, I go into detail in the book, The Law Firm Growth Formula, then you're able to talk price. And by that point, because you will have listened to your client and found out what matters to them, you will be able to explain why your service is perfect for them and then go into the price. And then you are much more likely to get the sale. So I've just covered that. The whole point of your website is to make your phone ring, is to convince someone that they should get in touch with you. Do not try and sell your entire service. Do not. I've seen firms that put full conveyancing instruction forms on their website as if someone's going to read 200 words because they don't believe in putting a lot of content, and then fill in a full page or two of A4 asking them to get on with their conveyancing. That doesn't happen. You need to make your website all about making the phone ring and getting inquiries and getting Genie forms filled in, and people getting in touch with you. That's what it's all about. The biggest problem law firms have is normally to do with their call answering, in that they don't pick up the phone quick enough or at all, or if they do, the person on the phone generally wants to get rid of the other person as quickly as possible because it's getting in the way of their busy day of photocopying or whatever they're doing. And I've mystery shopped a lot of calls in a lot of firms in the past and had some absolutely woeful experiences. I've been in my clients' firms when the phones rang and heard the receptionist turning away clients because they didn't think they offered that service when they did. and heard people being told phone back tomorrow, that person's not in today. this, like I say, if you get this right, if you get every part of these simple bits right, you will wipe the floor with your competition, because they are by and large woeful at dealing with new client inquiries, almost to the point of negligence. It's just insane how bad solicitors are at answering the phone and talking nicely to a prospect. And so that first contact with your firm is vital, which is why my strong recommendation is you don't handle it. You don't have one receptionist handling it. You outsource it to a call center who has 10 potential receptionists waiting to answer the phone. Their only job is to answer the phone. They answer the phone with a smile on their face, and then they transfer the phone call to you, or they send details so that you can call them back. But by that point, the prospect has had a conversation with what they believe is your member of staff, and it was a pleasant conversation. They were made to feel special, and they were told that Nick will phone you back within the next half an hour. So the chance of them sort of staying and not going off and finding another lawyer is high. Chance of you getting an instruction is good. If you currently do your own call handling, I suggest you call yourself 3 or 4 times a week and just see what experience your clients go through. And also through marketing for solicitors, my membership service for solicitors, I'm just working on a deal now to provide mystery shopping free of charge to my clients, because it's such an important issue. If you get this right, if you get your call answering right, then it makes a tremendous difference to the profitability of the firm. But if you want to call centre, then please get in touch. I'll be happy to tell you who I recommend. The other biggest issue or biggest area for improvement for you is to just follow up relentlessly. And when you've got an inquiry, make sure you always follow up right to the end. Now, I have some clients that have tripled the volume of files they open every month simply by relentlessly following up. And that might sound like a difficult process, but it's really not. The first call, the meaningful conversation, you find out what matters to the client, you send them an email. Hopefully, if you're sensible, you send them a letter as well, because no one else will be. And then 3 days later, you phone up and say, just checking you got my email, my letter, and to see if you've got any other questions. That is your follow-up. If they aren't there, you leave one message, and then you keep phoning until you get a hold of them, but don't leave messages each time. That alone can transform your profits and make a substantial difference. And as I've said before, your woeful competition aren't doing it. So if you do, you're more professional, you'll get more instructions. How do you get more inquiries and more clients? The one thing I'd say is a lot of solicitors struggle with this. They think they have to be in control of everything, and so they'll try and make changes to their website. So you might watch this and think, yes, I don't do any of those things. I've got no phone number on the website. I don't tell people what I do. I don't make it easy for them to get in touch. I'm going to make all these changes, but I'll do those myself over the next few days. And of course, they never do, because you're too busy doing what you should be doing, which is doing your hourly rate work at £300-400 an hour. So of course it doesn't make any sense. So my strong advice is get it done for you, don't do it yourself. And if you're watching this thinking, gosh, there's a lot of changes I need to my website, just ask me. I can put you in touch with some clients. I actually do their web projects for them. It's not for everybody, but for the right clients where they're a good match and I can help, then we do that. But if I can't help, then I'll put you in touch with someone that can. But there's a big blockage is often that firms try to do too much in-house. And the most successful firms and the most successful law firm owners I work with, the first thing I do is stop them fee earning. Second thing I do is get everything outsourced as much as possible, so that every single month the marketing is done consistently, which then means there's a consistent flow of new clients, which then means the profits just keep going up and up and up. Whether the law firm owner does work, whether he does his own marketing, doesn't matter. It's all outsourced and automated so that the firm keeps on growing. If you're thinking I need a new website, something I wanted to put in here is to say that most firms make the mistake of trying to do everything all at once. Hello, ice cream van. It's a nice sunny day here in Portishead. So they make the mistake of trying to do everything at once. They think, right, we'll rewrite all of the content, we'll make every page amazing, and we'll design the site, and away we go. Don't do that. Get the new design approved, hopefully on something like WordPress, so you're not tied to someone's bespoke content management system, because the words bespoke content management system all that you should hear when someone says that to you from a web design company is, we want you to stay with us forever and pay us every month for our bespoke content management system. That's what bespoke content management system means. It means that you keep paying them forever and you're stuck there. What you should have is a WordPress website that could be changed by 1,000,001 WordPress designers. It just doesn't need to be one person, so you can move away if you fall out with your current designer. It gives you a lot more power and control. So the process I suggest you follow: keep your current website live, complete a detailed brief of what you actually need, every page listed on there, how you want it to look and feel, and then get some fixed prices. Then once the design's up, add new content, because if you're on WordPress, it's so easy to add new pages, to change content, and you really don't want to try and do it all at once because it just won't happen. So I've talked about some very simple changes today, and I keep this short and sweet because I know you're busy people, and I just want to highlight the key areas where you can make changes. Hopefully you think, well, you might know something, this Nick bloke, and actually take some action, get some results. You hopefully then think, well, I'll buy his books. He seems like a nice guy. And if you want a bit more one-on-one support, you join Marketing for Solicitors, because I am a nice guy and I want you to do better than you are now. And I show you how, with video training, with a monthly printed newsletter, with all sorts of guides showing you how to do every aspect of your marketing. But today, the important point is, if you watch this again, go through all of those changes I've suggested, make them to your website, see the improvements, and that makes it much easier to move on to the next stage. If you want that next stage of more detail, more information, where do I go next? Quick start plan to get you the quickest results. I've even got a how to get clients in 30 days plan in there, so that I tell you exactly what you need to do in 1 month to get clients coming to your door. That's a new client sprint, I call it, plus a fast action plan if you're in a more developed position, showing you where you'll get the quickest wins. That is what Marketing for Solicitors is all about. So there's blueprints in there showing you every aspect of marketing, from this month's one actually going out tomorrow or possibly Friday. And if you join Marketing for Solicitors today, or by close of play tomorrow, you get a free copy of my book thrown in, which is worth £15. So that's not on here, but you will get that because I've made note to send that to everyone that joins before the close of play tomorrow. So today's one is all about, or this month's one is a double issue. It's a blueprint issue, all about getting to the top of Google without spending money on Google AdWords. And it's based on what I've been testing on my client sites. That's led to a 1/3 increase on traffic just by making some very simple changes. And there's an entire process and checklist in there. There's 15 other blueprints showing you how to have a meaningful conversation, how to write content for your website, every aspect, video training, all sorts of precedents you can use, the ability to ask me questions. So if you're stuck on something, I can say, look, there you go, off you go. And if you're on the premium version, you get a sort of quarterly call with me to go through everything and to make sure you're on track, and to make sure that you do everything right. It's a ridiculously low price because I expect it to you to keep doing it forever, because why wouldn't you? If I give you one good idea, you generate a client worth £1,000, then you've covered your basic investment for the year, and you'll get that every single month. So what I share with you tends to make you improve your system, so that every month you make one improvement, it's £1,000 a month, make two, it's 2,000, three, 3,000, and so on and so on. So it's a cumulative effect. Lots of lovely comments and lovely clients that have been with me for a long time, like Imran here. And there's lots more there. There's lots more on the website. I'm not going to bore you with that because I'm boring myself. So make sure you take some action for today. Make sure that you get your website better, because most of my clients get a lot of work from their website. When I speak to solicitors that aren't generating work, I just think, what a waste. You can make your life so much easier. So if you get the basics right, you can really generate a lot of business from your website. And if you want more information and more help, then definitely join me at Marketing for Solicitors. You can set up a time to talk if you're stuck and think, I don't really know what I should be doing. You can set up a time to talk by calling my lovely PA, Christelle, or you can email me, or go to Marketing for Solicitors and join me now. And as I say, if you join before close of play tomorrow, you will actually get a copy of my book. If anyone has any questions, then I'd be happy to help. Otherwise, that is what I have for you today. I hope you found it helpful. I'll send you there'll be a link to a very short survey. If you can give me any feedback or comments in there, that's always much appreciated. But thank you for your time, and I hope you have found today useful. Look forward to hearing from you in the future.